Right?
The question is whether or not it is safe for the average traveller, whether or not the infrastructure is there to get around from A to B, whether or not Nigeria is conserving some of her great treasures. So, for example, when you go to museums in some part of the world, things are kept beautifully. You will see them, no problem whatsoever. In others, they fall into ruin very quickly. You know, getting around the place, you know, banditry, all these things can either attract a tourist or repel a tourist.
That's true.
And from your point of view, are you saying Nigeria is now ready as a tourist destination in Africa?
Without any doubt. Nigeria is absolutely
So where would
ready.
you go then? I mean,
You
I've only been once. I've been to Lagos and Abuja. Where should I go?
You mentioned Calabar, Port Harcourt, Kaduna, Kano, Sokoto, the seat of the Caliphate, right? There are so many places. When you're talking about natural environment, we have places that you have cold water on the other side, and just within 2 feet, you have warm water. You could see I believe in Osun State. You have the Abeokuta Rock. Yeah? You have places, Oluma Rock and Abeokuta. I just can't sit down here and say, here they are. But if there's a country in Africa that can give you so many variety of tourist destination, Nigeria, without any doubt, is one of it. In fact, Nigeria is the only answer. I'm not sitting here as promoting Nigeria because I just want to promote Nigeria.
Well, you're part of the committee, so
I am part of the committee. While at the same time, I can say, yes, when you're talking about electricity, for example, or power, yes, we have a problem with the power, right?
Lots of power cuts.
There's
people
a power
having to use their own generators.
Indeed. But then there is a cartel probably that is trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. While at the same time, even where there's no electricity, there's no power, things are still happening. You see, my question that I used to ask myself is, because I'm here in Europe, what happened to my other family members who honestly don't want to travel abroad? They are still saying, no, I'm happy. I'd rather come here, spend 2 weeks, and go back to Nigeria. And again, the country has more than 140 million people still in that country.
Yeah. So they must be staying there for a reason, you're saying?
Exactly.
Well, it could be, I know that some simply are staying there because they've got no other choice. They haven't got the money, they haven't got the means to leave. No, one second, because you find Nigerians travelling all over the world in huge, huge, huge numbers. And despite the gloss offered to us by Alistair of the committee, the Rebranding Nigeria Committee, actually it's a sham. You know, it's all about gloss. It's all about trying to present yourselves as something deep down that you're not. You've been to Nigeria. How have you found it?
Well, it's okay, but I think the rebranding effort is one that's required.
Really?
The question is it at the right time? Is it at the right junction in their progression or industrialization? It's questionable because Nigeria hasn't actually got all the various aspects of their game into play just yet. There are areas where they're failing excessively so. Yeah. For example, the average Nigerian lives no more than 46.
Yes.
Out of 1,000 babies that are born, 100 would die.
Terrible mortality rate. Polio in the north, especially. The problems between the Muslims and the Christians.
Excessively so.
Every so often killings.
Excessively so. And if you think about it, the sort of economical progression that we've spoken about earlier, they've not been able to find a formula for actually cascading that down to the grassroots so that people who live in abject poverty, of which we got at least 60% of the population live below the poverty line, less than $1 a day, have not been able to benefit from any of those credits.
So given all of this, how can you possibly rebrand a nation where so many people are struggling and in pain?
Absolutely. The only argument they would have is if they're trying to attract back those Nigerians who've left in large numbers, who've acquired greater skills, who've got better knowledge, who for 1,000 reasons living in Western nations are struggling themselves because those industries, those economies are not working themselves. Their jobs, even if they've got them, their money is not taking them that much further as they would otherwise wish. They're trying to attract them to come back home. Then I think that's a good formula.
So what should they be doing? I mean, I know that Nigeria now has a presence at the world travel market here in this country, presenting itself as a tourist destination. Nigeria and the Nigerian Stock Exchange sometimes holds conferences here to say, come on, we're open for business. But that isn't enough, is it? What more do you think, as a media man yourself, they should do? Because from your own country's point of view, Sierra Leone, you emerged from a very long civil war, a lot of pain, a lot of people being killed, coups, etc. But you're rebranding yourselves too, aren't you?
Yes, everyone seems to be catching up to this now.
Yes.
It's very worrying. I'm not sure who the marketing managers are doing all of this, but, but it just goes to show. But I think everyone's trying to put in their best foot forward, and there's nothing wrong with that. The question is can you measure the amount of money that's been used in these campaigns? A lot of advertising, promotion.
Well, in the previous one, under the Obasanjo regime, which started in 2003, it was all about Heart of Africa, the big, powerful, beating heart of Africa. They spent at least $4 or so $5 million. and many dispute whether or not that was effectively spent.
How many
because
hospitals?
the reputation, how many hospitals, etc., roads, and the reputation of the country. If you look at many of the international indices, quality of life, crime, corruption, unfortunately, it's at the wrong end of those tables still, despite these campaigns.
Yes.
Can it work, do you think, this campaign?
I think the problem is with any of these campaigns is that Africa has a terrible stigma. Be it with the sort of news that you like to get out there, be it with the type of information that you like to get. So if you've got a concerted campaign trying to get the right message out, be it promoting yourselves, or be it telling people about yourselves, or be it telling about the resources and the benefits about that, there's nothing wrong with that. It's having the balance between the money spent and the benefit on the ground.
And Alice, what about that then? I mean, when you heard last month, like we all did, that Nigeria was embarking on a new rebranding campaign, this time not hiring the PR guru from Britain, Max Clifford, which he was hired first time round, and unfortunately it didn't really work, and he kind of resigned. He said, they won't listen to me. What do you think about this exercise? Do you feel insulted by it, or do you think actually, the woman in charge of it was really, really strong, getting rid of all the sham drugs, and actually we think this is important? I think, Alice Ukoko, that this is important. People need to stop judging Nigeria so negatively. There's a lot of positives there.
Well, I don't know about lots of positive. I think what's actually happening, if you remember on the 31st of March of this year, there was the drowning of youths at the coast of Libya. And most of those were Africans that were trying, and a lot of them are from actually the Niger Delta. Yeah. And it turned out that one of the victims of that of drowning was a third-year student, law student from Ekpoma in Edo State. And then you begin to ask, and as we speak, there are a lot of people you could be rebranding on one hand, and on the other hand, because people you're running away, you're not running your country. The country is not being governed. So it's not what people are saying. You could be saying one thing and the reality is very different
when
from
you
another.
say the country is not being governed,
the country is not being governed.
Are you saying Nigeria is ungovernable?
Not ungovernable. The thing about Nigerians is that Nigerians are so easygoing. They are happy. They are smiling when in actual fact they are suffering. In a country where most of the people are looking on to money remittance from abroad, and they are waiting, they are sending their children out into international trafficking so they can go into prostitution to bring money in, then you know that something is terribly wrong. What is wrong is very serious. I mean, if we continue to, so let's rebrand it. Let's sweep the whole thing under the carpet so the world can think that we are doing well. The world knows that we are not doing well. If you're a Nigerian, wherever you are in this country, in the whole world, you will realize once you say Nigerian, people say, go like this, because they think, oh, maybe have you come to snatch my earring? Because when you have a situation where the government is more or less sitting down there, we are talking about embezzlement of national resources. We are talking about the military that goes to invade the very region that is producing the oil. Then something is terribly wrong. We are looking at a government that people, individuals that are not representing people. They are not representing people. When you talk about the electoral system, there is electoral fraud. I know that because I went to run for governorship of Delta State in 2007, and I had
because you didn't win, you can't say
no,
it was
it's
fraud.
not that. I left because my life was in danger. Yeah. I mean, when you have a situation, and I can tell you that on the 6th of February 2006, I was assassins were sent to me in a hotel in Abuja. When you speak out, they kill you. So when we say we have a civil rule, I was at the forefront of the campaigning to end direct military rule in Nigeria following the annulment of the June 12th election. And I have been able to say that to the very person who annulled it, or in the person of General Babangida, retired, and I told him that he was the person who destroyed the hope that Nigerians have.